Hello, once again. Welcome to the Management Channel. In this particular topic, we're going to look at workplace emotions, attitudes, and stress. Our objective here is to discover how emotions influence our attitude and our behavior. We're going to look at the dynamics of emotional labor, look at the consequences of job dissatisfaction and strategy to increase organizational commitment, and obviously, we're going to look at stress in the workplace. So, emotions. It's basically the physiological, behavioral, and psychological episodes experienced toward an object, a person, or event that create a state of readiness. Most emotions occur without our awareness. It's not like we consciously think about it. There's two features of all emotions. All have some degree of activation, all have core effect, and evaluate that as something either good or bad. Attitudes is a cluster of beliefs, assess feelings, and behavioral intentions towards a person, object, or event. Attitudes traditionally have been described as a purely rational process in which beliefs predict feelings, which predict behavioral intentions, which predict behavior. Thus, our emotions influence our behavior. Now, there are two dimensions of emotions. One, evaluation and activation. For example, fearful is a negative emotion that generates a high level of activation. Relaxed is a pleasant emotion that has a fairly low level of activation. So, attitudes, judgment about an attitude object. Emotions are experiences related to the attitude object. They're based mainly on rational logic, and they're based on innate learned responses to the environment. Attitudes are usually stable for days or longer. Emotions usually experienced for seconds or less. Quite a difference, right? Traditionally, attitudes are believed to be purely cognitive approach. What are beliefs? Beliefs are established perceptions of attitude object. Feelings are calculation of good or bad based on beliefs about the attitude object. And behavioral intentions are calculated motivation to act in response to the attitude object. The problem is it ignores important role of emotions in shaping attitudes. Feelings and beliefs are influenced by cumulative emotional episodes, not just an evaluation of beliefs. Potential conflict between a cognitive and an emotional process, and emotions also directly affect our behavior. It shows in our facial expressions, our body language. Whatever your attitude is, it does show in your face and your body. Creating positive emotions at work creates happier employees, more productivity, less waste, more employee input for improvements in the organization, less absenteeism and turnover, and a more positive workplace attitude. People start to enjoy their work. Cognitive dissonance is a condition that occurs when we perceive an inconsistency between our beliefs, our feelings, and our behavior. This inconsistency generates emotions like we're feeling hypocritical that motivate us to increase consistency. It's easier to increase consistency by changing feelings and beliefs rather than changing your behavior. Some experience positive emotions naturally and thus have a higher emotional stability. They're extroverted. But some experience negative emotions and tend to have higher neuroticism or lower emotional stability, and thus they're pretty much introverted, keep to themselves. Emotional labor is the effort, planning, and control needed to express organizationally desired emotions during interpersonal transactions. Higher end job requiring frequent, lengthy emotion display, frequent, longer interactions with clients. So, if you're a salesperson or a counter person, you're supposed to be nicer, smile more, da da da. There's also, though, a variety of emotions display, anger as well as joy. And we have intense emotions display, showing delight or total disappointment or shock. Across cultures, displaying or hiding emotions varies across different cultures. Some cultures it's necessary to show them, and some cultures you just don't. For example, minimal emotional expressionism and monotonic voice is common in Ethiopia, Japan, and Austria. Encouraging open display of true emotions in Kuwait, Egypt, Spain, Russia. People are expected to be dramatic and animated there. It's difficult to display expected emotions accurately and to hide true emotions. So, how do you act happy and agreeable when inside you're upset and don't accept it? Emotional dissonance is a conflict between true and required emotions. More stressful with surface acting, less stressful with deep acting. Surface acting, okay, well, what does that mean? Pretending to show the required emotions but continuing to hold different internal feelings. That's surface acting. Smiling on the outside but inside wanting to shove a knife in them. Bad example, I guess. Deep acting, changing your true emotions to match the required emotions. Is that easy to do? How can you show that you're really happy if inside you're not? That's a tough one. Emotional intelligence is a set of abilities to perceive and express emotion, assimilate emotion and thought, understand and reason with emotion, and regulate emotion in oneself as well as in others. Recent research developed four-dimensional model representing recognition of emotions in ourselves and in others. First of all, awareness of our own emotions. It's the ability to perceive and understand the meaning of all your emotions. Management of your emotions is the ability to manage emotions, keeping any disruptive emotions in check or, if possible, not visible. Awareness of others' emotions is the ability to perceive and understand the emotions of others, your fellow workers, your employees, or your supervisor. And management of others' emotions. The ability to console people who are sad or grieve and inspiring team members to complete a project on time, or to get strangers to feel comfortable working with you, etc. So, the four dimensions of emotional intelligence and order are management of others' emotions, managing other people's emotions, the awareness of it, perceiving and understanding the meaning of the other person's emotions, self management, managing our own emotions, and self awareness, perceiving and understanding the meaning of your emotions. Why are you doing it? The ability to manage your emotions as well as others is a skill set of abilities, and it can be improved by coaching and training. And believe it or not, it does improve naturally with age and maturity. When you're younger, you have a different set of emotional intelligence than when you're older. Job satisfaction. That's a person's evaluation of his or her job and work context. It's an appraisal of perceived job characteristics, work environment, and emotional experiences at work. Most American employees say they are satisfied with their job. Probably, though, inflated because revealing any job dissatisfaction in direct question threatens self esteem. If you don't like it, why are you there? Exit voice loyalty neglect, EVLN. Model identifies four ways employees respond to dissatisfaction. Exit theory is simply leaving the situation, quitting, or transferring. Leaving the situation by resigning from the organization or transferring to another department, or at least trying to get away. Voice theory is changing the situation, problem solving, complaining, any attempt to change rather than to escape. For example, a constructive response such as recommending a way to improve the situation, or more confrontational such as filing a formal grievance. Loyalty theory, well, I guess we're going to see neglect first. Neglect is reducing work effort quality and increasing your absenteeism, meaning you don't care anymore, so you're not going to show up. Loyalty is patiently waiting for the situation to improve. Passive activities that have negative consequences for the organization are reducing your work effort, reducing your attention to quality, and increasing your tardiness or absenteeism. Happy workers are somewhat more productive, but general attitude is a poor predictor of specific behaviors. Job satisfaction effect on performance is lower when employees have less control over their output. Reverse explanation: job performance affects satisfaction, but only when rewarded. What is a service profit chain model? Well, it's a theory explaining how employees' job satisfaction influences company profitability indirectly through their service quality, their customer loyalty, and related factors. Job satisfaction increases customer satisfaction and profitability because it affects mood, leading to positive behavior toward the customer. It reduces employee turnover, resulting in a more consistent and familiar workforce. Affective commitment is an emotional attachment to or identifying with and involvement in a particular organization. Employee's feeling of loyalty to the place where he or she works. A continuance commitment is a calculative attachment to the organization whereby an employee is motivated to stay only because leaving would be costly to quit. An employee chooses to stay because the value of staying is higher than the value of working somewhere else. Not a good reason for an employee to stay with you. Several ways to improve organizational commitment. The most popular are trust and support method, which is applying humanitarian values, support employee well-being. Shared value method, shared values congruence. Organizational comprehension, know the firm's past, present, future, and have open and rapid communication. Involve your employees, make them feel like they're part of the company. Involvement demonstrates trust. Stress, work-related stress. It's an adaptive response to situations perceived as challenging or threatening to the well-being. It prepares us to adapt to hostile or noxious environmental conditions like heart rate increases, muscles tighten, your breathing speeds up, your body starts releasing adrenaline, high anxiety. Eustress versus distress. Eustress is some level of stress that is a necessary part of life. It actually activates and motivates people to go and achieve goals or change their environment and succeed in life's challenges. Distress is the degree of psychological, physiological, and behavioral deviation from healthy functioning. There are consequences of stress. The general adaptation syndrome is a model of the stress experience consisting of three stages: resistance, and exhaustion. Alarm reaction is the threat or challenge activates the psychological stress responses. Resistance activates biochemical, psychological, and behavioral mechanisms, giving the individual more energy and coping mechanisms to overcome or remove the source of stress, and the body reduces resources to the immune system. Exhaustion. Usually able to remove the stressor or remove ourselves before becoming too exhausted. People who frequently reach exhaustion have increased risk of long-term psychological or physiological damage. Consequences of distress: physiological damage would be cardiovascular disease, hypertension, headaches. Behavioral would be work performance, accidents, absenteeism, poor decision making, aggression. And psychological would be dissatisfaction, moodiness, depression, and emotional fatigue. Job burnout, basically, the process of emotional exhaustion, depersonalization, and reduced personal accomplishment resulting from the prolonged exposure to stress. Stage 1 is emotional exhaustion, a lack of energy. Stage 2 is cynicism, indifferent attitude towards work, emotional detachment, strictly follow rules, that's it. 3, reduced personal accomplishment, diminished confidence, and even learned helplessness. The causes of stress are stressors. Any environmental condition that places a physical or emotional demand on the person. Some common workplace stressors are harassment, work overload, low task control, and even sexual harassment. Three most common work-related stressors are psychological, which are repeated hostile or unwanted conduct, verbal comments, actions, or gestures that affect an employee's dignity or their psychological or physical integrity, and that results in a harmful work environment for the employee. Behaviors ranging from threats and bullying to subtle yet persistent forms of incivility. Sexual harassment is a big one. It's an unwelcome conduct of sexual nature that detrimentally affects the work environment or leads to adverse job-related consequences for the victims. Quid pro quid pro quo harassment as employment or job performance is conditional on unwanted sexual relations. Hey, if you go out with me tonight, I'll make sure you get the promotion. Hostile work environment is when a person experiences sexual contact from others that interferes with work performance or creates an intimidating, hostile, or offensive work environment. For instance, like posting pornographic material, or as you see here, this guy is stooping to staring at the lady's rear end as she bends over. Work overload and task control stressors. Working more hours more intensely than one can cope. Task control due to lack control over how and when tasks are performed. Stress increases with responsibility. The higher up you go, the more stress you're going to have. Individual differences. People experience different stress levels when exposed to the same stressor, meaning not every two people act the same way to stress. Individual differences that minimize distress are better physical health with regular exercise, a healthy lifestyle, having a better coping strategy, seeking support from others, reframing the stressors in a more positive light. And probably the most important reason is your personality. If you're an extrovert, you interact with others. A degree of positive thinking is prevalent. Positive self-concept, high esteem, self-efficacy, and you have a better internal locus of control. Workaholism attracts stressors and weakens ability to cope. A workaholic is a person who is highly involved in work, feels compelled to work, and has a low enjoyment of work. So how do you remove the stressor? Assign employees to jobs that match their skills and preferences. Reduce workplace noise. Having a complaint system and taking corrective action if you get a complaint. Don't just get one and do nothing. Giving employees more control over the work process, and ensuring they have a work-life balance with limited and flexible time, job sharing, teleworking, personal leave, childcare, etc. Withdraw from this stressor permanently. You could transfer a job with better fit. You could temporarily take a vacation, a sabbatical, or holiday. Change your stress perceptions. Improve your self-concept. Improve your personal goal setting. Have more humor in your life. Control stress consequences. Physical exercise, meditation, wellness programs, employee assistance programs all help. When they were talking about humor, I would listen to the comedy channel on the way to work and on the way home from work, so that I was in a great mood when I got there and a great mood when I got home to my wife. That's all we got here on individual behavior, and I hope you've picked up something here of value. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.